Comrade Commander-in-Chief, under your leadership, the armed forces of the Russian Federation are holding a training to practice a mass nuclear strike by our strategic nuclear forces in retaliation for a nuclear attack by an enemy.
Well, I'm joined in the studio now by Doug Herbert, our international affairs editor. Doug, am I right in thinking we've seen this kind of thing before?
We've been here before. We've seen this film many times, Angela. Look, yet again, Moscow rolling out the rhetoric that they are bracing for nuclear doomsday and they are ready to, implicitly, the message being we're ready to respond in kind. Look, go back to the early days right after the invasion, February 24th. 3 days later, we had Vladimir Putin ordering his strategic nuclear forces to go on high alert. You might remember this. He cited at the time what he saw as called aggressive statements by NATO and very tough sanctions being threatened and imposed by the West. And he basically he ordered these forces on high alert. And the order, perhaps not coincidentally, at that time came back in late February. It came just as the Ukrainian defenders were putting up, unexpectedly, at least from Russia's standpoint, strong resistance to that early Russian invasion. It was not all clear yet that that the Ukrainian forces were going to repel Russia from its initial onslaught towards Kiev. Back then, we thought maybe the government was about to fall. But this all came at a time, and this is where it resonates with right now, a time where Putin was on the back foot, even if he doesn't really admit it. And when he's on the back foot, he wields that nuclear saber-rattling card, if you will. So we've seen it before when he says he's not bluffing about using one of his daunting nuclear arsenal of weapons, very powerful weapons, and this sense that he is ready to basically unleash the full force of Russia's atomic arsenal. You know, implicitly, this is the message, right, on anyone who dares to threaten Russia. Let's not forget that it is in Russia's nuclear doctrine, so to speak, that any attack against Russia that Russia sees as existentially threatening its existence would warrant and justify the use of nuclear weapons. But I say this again, it happens when Russia is on the back foot. Putin, nothing enrages Putin more because he's not going to back down. He's never going to admit he's wrong. He's never going to change his strategy radically to concede to the West. So what he does is he does the nuclear saber rattling. It's effective in one respect. It weakens Western public opinion. It softens Western public opinion. It scares the hell out of a lot of people in the West, while at the same time serving the dual purpose of, while it scares the West, it also bolsters his public support on the home front.
So you say that it scares people in the West. Should
Here we are talking about it. Yeah. Look, I'm not the nuclear expert, but listen to what some of the intelligence analysts, what do they say? You know, the head of the CIA basically says, sure, you need to take everything Putin says seriously. Not in the sense he's not a madman. It's not that. A lot of these intelligence people think he's highly rational. It's just that he's drunk the Kool-Aid. He deeply believes what he's saying. He really believes that there are forces in the West, nuclear forces that are ready to attack Mother Russia and destroy it, and Russia must be ready at all times. He genuinely believes that, I think, which is what makes his threats so perhaps potentially dangerous and scares public opinion in the West so much. But that said, it's one thing to put it out there, to nuclear saber rattle, to hold these exercises. They're called thunder, by the way, grom in Russian, these exercises. To hold these, it's one thing to do that, but the same Western intelligence analysts do not see any practical evidence at this point, Angela, that Putin is actually ready to in any way use even tactical nuclear weapons, which are those smaller battlefield weapons which aren't the giant kind which are meant to destroy big cities like Washington or London or Paris. But even in that sense, they see no evidence. So on the one hand, yes, sure, take the threat seriously because Vladimir Putin's saying it. And Vladimir Putin has never been a man who is going to back off easily or be seen to look weak in any way, shape, or form, even if nuclear weapons are involved. But at the same time, like I said, it's important to understand this is also a psyops game. This is psychological operations. Get his support at home high, strong Putin defending the motherland against those evil nuclear armed forces out to get Russia, and at the same time to project strength and to intimidate and bully and panic-monger to the West.
Okay, well, thanks, Doug. Doug Herbert there, France 24's international affairs editor.